Okay, we're gonna style my hair today. I already shampooed and conditioned. This is what it looks like wet. I haven't even detangled yet. We are fully using less brands because it's been a hot minute and this is one of my favorite brands. But you know, you get carried away with all the new stuff and sometimes you just want to go back to the tried and true. So I am starting with we're getting right into it today. We're not wasting any time. I am starting with the Love Your Curls step 3. So I already used step 1 and step 2 as my shampoo and conditioner. I'm gonna post something later today about how to condition your hair properly because it's something that I've really just started doing and it is honestly such a game changer. So I started by just adding like the tiniest little amount of the Wavy formula to my hands. I start by using it as a detangling product and my hair is soaking wet. I haven't even detangled yet, and I'm going to use it for detangling first. So I emulsified it with water in my hands, and then I'm going to just kind of evenly distribute it, which is made easier by the fact that I added that water. I don't know why Wavy, TikTok I feel like is kind of dark today. Whatever. Okay, so we're going through adding that all over, and that's just going to make it a little bit easier to actually go in and detangle. So I feel like my hair is pretty knotted today, because I shampooed and conditioned yesterday and then I went in and detangled with conditioner in my hair yesterday, but then I slept on it without a silk scarf. And that's one of those sneaky benefits of a silk scarf is it prevents your hair overnight from getting tangled. See, I couldn't even get a brush through. So I'm gonna start at the ends and really gently start to work up towards the roots. So yeah, I slept without a silk scarf last night and it left my hair super tangled this morning. So, I think that's one of like the sneaky things about the Less brands is it is an all-in-one. I don't always use it as an all-in-one, but it is good for a lot of different things, including as a detangling product. Hi, Phoenix. Okay, so you can see how tangled it got overnight. Oh my God, that's wild. I don't sleep on a silk scarf just because, or on a silk pillowcase because I have dogs in my bed and they ruin all the sheets. I use wrinkle resistant, stain resistant sheets. Okay. So I'm just really gently, you don't want to pull too hard on your hair. When your hair is wet, it's most prone to breakage. So you want to be really gentle if you are detangling while wet. Like I said, I start at the ends, I work my way up, and it's actually coming out pretty easily with the all-in-one. Hi, Ashley. Okay. Again, we're gonna start with the ends here. Work your way up. If your hair is particularly tangled, like really tangled, full of fairy knots, and you feel like you keep having to cut these tiny little knots out of your hair, on my hair at least, that is typically an indicator that I have protein overload or that my hair needs moisture and is like a little dehydrated. So that's something to keep in mind. If you don't know what I'm talking about with protein, I have a free guide that you can go download that kind of deep dives into it because there is like a lot to know about this topic. But basically it's when you read the ingredient labels on your hair products, your shampoo, your conditioner, your styling products, all of them. Some of them have protein ingredients. It is not, it might, but typically it's going to say something like collagen or keratin or hydrolyzed pea protein or like something like that. And those are all great ingredients. They are not bad. They're really good ingredients. They strengthen your hair. They kind of like fill in the little holes on the outer layer of your cuticle to strengthen your hair and prevent breakage. But like anything, too much can cause your hair to be really tangled and straw-like and just not nice. So if your hair is really, really tangled, that's something to look at. The way to fix that is to clarify your hair. Get a shampoo that is meant for clarifying. Speaking of knots. Clarify your hair and then cut back on some of those products that have protein just for a while. Not forever, just for now. So question, how do you know if you have protein overload or a deficiency? So the guide that I have will go into detail on this. You can download the guide, it's in my link. However, the Sparks note of it is hair that's in protein overload is typically going to be like straw-like and brittle, will probably break really easily if you try to stretch it, will probably be more tangled than usual and dull and you'll probably have a lot of wet frizz. Hair that's in a deficiency of protein will be, it's not gonna feel so much like straw. I don't know if that makes sense. And it probably won't be overly tangled as much. That's typically a sign that your hair has too much protein, not enough protein. Your hair might also be like overly soft. Like, I'm not even getting into moisture overload. I'm just talking about protein deficiency. It's typically that your hair is struggling to hold curl is going to be the main sign. But you can also be like the opposite end of the spectrum, which is moisture overload. And that's when your hair is going to be overly soft, really struggling to hold curl. And, you know. Was my page called Curly Hair? Yes, it was before, and I switched it. 1 second. Waiting for Cake the Curl Whip Mousse and Camille Rose to arrive today. Ooh, so exciting. Which Camille Rose product did you try? The foam or the deep conditioner? Yes, my page was called Curly Hair before. So I know there's like a lot of different definitions online of where the line is between wavy and curly hair. I'm certainly not an authority on this topic, and I don't pretend to be. But in researching this topic, there's like two main things. One is I found the term wavy to be calling my hair wavy as opposed to curly, to be the most helpful term to connect me to the products and techniques that work for my hair. That's the first thing. And second thing, even though wavy hair is still a type of curly hair, so technically I could use the two terms interchangeably, I do find it really helpful when everyone uses the most specific term possible to connect them to the right audience and to the right products and techniques. Because those people with curly hair in the middle don't have an alternative term. So if kinky hair people and curly hair people and wavy hair people all call their hair curly, well, wavy hair still has the option to Google how to take care of wavy hair, and they'll get, results for them. Kinky hair and coily hair still has the option to type in kinky and coily and get results that are just for them. People with curly hair in between, there's no alternative word that they can use. So they're now getting results from people with wavy hair, people with curly hair, people with kinky coily hair, and they have to weed through all of those results. So I don't want to add to that like difficulty for people with curly hair accessing the information that's right for them. So I try to use the most specific term I can for my hair. You're welcome. Definitely in protein overload. What's a good clarifying shampoo? Bounce Curl Gentle Clarifying Shampoo is by far my favorite. Okay, so I think we are detangled. Okay, so I did wash my hair yesterday, but I often wash my hair on a separate day than I actually style it just because, it takes time. And especially for these Tuesday morning lives, I almost always wash my hair the day before so that I'm not like rushing in the morning to get ready for you guys. I use a lot of different products with my hair, but today we are using all Les Brands products. They're probably one of my favorites, I would say, and I do work with them a lot as well. How come when I get out of the shower, my hair is starting to curl up, but then when I brush it out, it goes straight and frizzy? Sounds like you've got wavy hair. That's actually super typical of wavy hair, that it's the curl where the wave pattern starts to loosen as it dries. It's getting weighed down by the water. Using stronger hold products and diffusing your hair is really going to make the biggest difference. If you're wanting to bring out that curl, you also don't have to bring out the curl. You can embrace the light wave or straightish hair, however you want to wear your hair. Do you believe a Denman brush is essential for styling? Absolutely not. You can use a regular paddle brush. Unpopular opinion. But using a brush that provides some grip is going to make a big difference. How should I apply curl creams to your hair if you don't have a diffuser? I would say a lot of my audience doesn't need curl creams. Curl creams are typically going to be too heavy for your hair. That's not true of all of my audience, but some of us. Curl creams are for curls. Curl creams are targeted to people who have spirals that start at the root, like a chalk size ringlet that starts at the root. Because if you don't have a curl that starts right at the root, likely, not guaranteed, but very likely, your curl has a tendency to fall loose over the course of a couple of days. So if you use curl creams instead of like gels and things like that, it's not going to give you any hold or longevity, and your curl is going to fall out a lot faster. Okay? Instead, I would swap it out. If you're going to use a cream and a gel, that's now getting really heavy. So I would swap that curl cream out altogether, use a light leave-in conditioner and a gel. It's not true for everybody. but a lot of people with wavy hair benefit from that. What number curls would you say you have? Honestly, I don't really get into that because it's so up for debate. Like, and you can ask 2, 3, 4, 5 really qualified curl specialists and they're going to give you a slightly different definition. So I consider myself to have wavy hair with a variety of curl types on my head. Yeah, if you have very fine or thin hair, often a Denman brush isn't going to work that well for your hair because it's just going to almost straighten your hair as you go through. What should I use for my hair to give more volume? My hair is kind of like yours. Very light products. Using hair products that like are for curly hair isn't necessarily going to make your hair curlier. Unpopular opinion. If you have wavy hair, using products that are very light is going to help your hair. Some of that might overlap with some curl products, but some curl products truly are not meant for wavy hair and will only weigh it down and make it less curly and kill your volume. So you might get definition, but it'll kill your volume. Angelina, yeah, if you want more volume. So if you want more volume, I would try cutting out curl cream, but again, Angelina, I haven't seen your hair, so it's hard for me to really say without looking at pictures of your hair. Yeah, my favorite light gel is I don't know how light it is, but it's like, I consider it to be a relatively light gel. It's pretty much any of the Wedad gels, but I really like the climate control heat and humidity gel that they have by Wedad. If you have very fine or thin hair and using a brush seems to just leave it straight and not grip your hair, I wouldn't brush style your hair. You can do other techniques like the bowl method or the bowlless method, or I think Curl Vitality just came up with the side bowl method, something like that. So those techniques are going to be a lot more effective. Squish to condish. Okay, so I'm just really adding lots of water to make sure my hair is fully saturated. So now it's dripping wet. I'm going to go through in sections and start adding my Wavy All-in-One by Les Brands, okay? I like the Wavy All-in-One. They originally recommended to me to use the Curly All-in-One but for my hair, but the difference between the Wavy and the Curly is that the Curly is almost has a little bit more gel added to it, it's slightly more gel-like in its consistency, and the Wavy is slightly creamier in its consistency. But what I found was there still wasn't enough hold from the Curly product, so I would end up having to use a lot of the product to tame my frizz and give me definition and give me a little bit of hold, and I ended up having to use too much of the product. And so I just wasn't working for me. So when they came out with the Irish Sea Moss gel, I bumped down to the Wavy and I glazed some of the Irish Sea Moss gel over top of it. And for me, that is the chef's kiss perfect combination. So that's what I love about Les Brands. They keep it simple. They don't have a whole bunch of products, but within that you can kind of alchemize your perfect combination based on your hair. So love your curls. Wavy all-in-one formula is what we're going in with today. I would say start with not too much. A little bit of this product does go a long way. So this was maybe a little bit less than a dime size amount. And so you add a little bit of water and it emulsifies in your hand. Look how much product that is. And I barely added any. So that's going to be this bottom layer here. And I'm just going to rake it through, nothing too special because I am going to brush style my hair. So the brand is called Les Brands. Love yourself. Love your curls, love yourself. And the link in my bio if you're interested in checking out their website. I also have a discount code for them. Okay, so I'm going to go through, add it section by section to make sure I don't miss any spot. Okay. I added that much. Add water. I'm actually pulling it out of my hand. Look how much that is. That's the best way to make sure you don't add too much product, is to emulsify it in your hands first. And then I'm gonna do this in 2 sections. Sorry, I don't have all my like alligator clips today. I don't know why I didn't bring them out to get ready. Usually I do. Okay. Okay. See how much? Not very much. Add some water. You can just put it under a faucet too. And look how much that turns into. Now, if you were going to use it as an all-in-one, you would definitely want to use a lot more of this product. You were finally able to clarify. You just washed with less afterwards. That's amazing. That's a really good idea too, to use a clarifying shampoo and then a nice moisturizing shampoo afterwards. Okay, and then my last little application. See how much I'm adding? Barely any. Just like a little pea-size amount, maybe more. 2 pea-size amounts. Nice and wet. Really helps you to add this product evenly, I find. Okay, so now we've added the product all over. So just to show you, got a little bit, but it's not bubbling up too much, which is kind of how I like it. But you can see how wet my hair is. Okay. Now I like to just brush that through to evenly distribute it and make sure we've got that product everywhere. Okay. Now, if you're out of time and you've got, you know, a kid who's pulling on your leg or something like that, then I would just want to get lift away from your head here. So I would kind of stick my fingers through, pull up and away, and scrunch. And that's going to give you a little bit of lift near the root here. You don't want it to be like shellacked down. So if you have no more time, and this is, you need to like go now, that's what I would do. Run my fingers through, up and away from my hair, like that. Okay? And then give it a little scrunch, and then you can let it air dry from here. That is totally an option for you. We're gonna do the most, so we're not gonna do that. But we could, you know, we could do that. Now I'm just wondering if I wanna add, no, I think I'm gonna leave it like that. Okay, so now with the bottom layers, I keep it pretty simple because the most curly section of my head is the bottom layer. So I don't go over the top with brush styling on my bottom layer. It just doesn't need it, okay? All I wanna do is brush through to create some nice curl clumps. Okay, my hair is soaking wet when I'm doing this. Okay, I'm gonna go through in a little bit more detail than that. Just kind of brushing through like that. It's like a ribbon curl, or brushing with tension would be different terms for it. You can do like as much or as little as you want though. Like it depends on how much time you want to spend on your hair. And it depends on your hair too. Not everybody, like if your hair is pretty curly already, if you've already got pretty tight spirals, then doing more than this is probably completely unnecessary and just kind of redundant. Okay, there you go. And do you see how that creates those like kind of juicier curl clumps? That's what I'm going for. That's the whole idea here. If your hair goes straight after brushing, you probably shouldn't bother with brush styling. Stick to a different type of routine, something like the bowl method, squish to condish, the bowl-less method, or the side bowl method. Yeah, there's names for everything. They're just very similar iterations of roughly the same technique where you get your hair soaking wet so that you have kind of that seaweed hair, and you apply your product in that state. And then your hair clumps on its own, so you don't need to brush through it because the sheer amount of water you're using is going to help it clump. And then you just maybe micro plop. I don't like actually plopping in a t-shirt towel. I find my hair gets frizzy when I do that and it makes my curls wonky, but I do like to micro plop where I just like squeeze out the excess water. And then you can either air dry or diffuse from there. So there are other options. People told me my hair was not curly because when I brush it, my hair goes straight, but the ends curl. So, I mean, like I would also consider that to be not the curly type of hair. I would consider that to be wavy hair, which falls within the curly family umbrella. But the confusion can be when people are just saying, oh, my hair's like, I have curly hair, which sounds like you're talking about your hair type and not like the wider curl community. So yeah, like the definition I use for curly hair when we're talking about the type, there can be confusion because there's two ways you can word. So, okay, so maybe you do have curly hair. Like, of course, I haven't seen a picture. So I don't consider my hair curly though, Layla. I consider my hair wavy. So maybe that's, ultimately, I think it just comes down to the how we're using the definition of the word curly, right? I don't think people are saying that your hair is less spirally than it actually is. I think they're using the word curly differently than you're using it. And I think that's where a lot of this confusion comes from online. People think that the online community is saying that they're faking their spirals or something like that, and I really don't think that's what it is. It's that there's a huge portion of like the curly hair community that doesn't think that spirals is the definition of curly hair. So I am not an authority on this topic. I'm certainly not like the curl police by any means or anything like that. But that's also not the definition I go by, because I just don't find it to, like, the fact that your hair has spirals to me is not a particularly helpful definition of curly. That might mean your hair falls within the wider curl community, but not that your hair type is curly. Do you get the difference? So for me, I define wavy hair as any hair that has some or all spirals that don't start right at the root. So your hair probably grows somewhat at a downward angle as opposed to like at an outward angle. We typically struggle with volume. Our hair typically struggles to hold curl over the course of several days. And we need stronger hold products. Yeah. Oh, I love that you've been helped by my refresh tips. So yeah, the whole point of learning how to take care of your hair, thanks for the follow, Layla. The whole point of learning how to take care of your hair is you don't want to have to do it every single day. You don't want to. You want to come up with a hairstyling routine that hopefully you get at least 2 days out of, maybe a few days. So yeah, Carmen, it is interesting. And you know what? I called my hair curly for a really long time. A lot of you know when I started this channel, it was gal has curly hair. And I'm like not out here trying to shame anyone who uses curly definition in that way. I've just like evolved in how I've used that word as I've learned more. Yeah, Selena, you're absolutely right. I do trick my hair a lot, but even like I do a lot to make my hair look curlier than it is. But even within that, some people would still consider my hair curly. That's just not how I use the word curly. I define it differently. Sorry, my dogs need to come in the house. So 1 second. The puppers didn't want to be outside anymore. They wanted to come in. Okay, so anyways, you can see we've gone through, just kind of brushed through in sections, and this is what we're left with. By the way, if you guys want to know more, like I have more details where I go into more detail. I have more videos where I go into more detail about wavy versus curly, about what overtyping is and why it's harmful. Did you want to say hi to everybody? And why I call my hair wavy. So if you want to watch those, you can scroll back. They're not too far back. I get 4 days out of my curls, 2 fresh and neat and 2 less organized. Love that. I have hair past my waist and I have to wear it up at work. It goes straight and frizzy. Ugh. Yeah, that's tough. I mean, I would get a banana clip. That's really going to help, unless you have to wear it in like a bun. When I wake up, my hair is just frizzy, even when using a cap. So that can sometimes be because you're not using products that contain hold, or maybe you're using products that are too heavy for your hair. There can be a lot of reasons for that. Did you get your glasses fixed? I did, yes. They're messed up, but I did get them fixed. I sat on my glasses the other day, for anyone who's wondering what we're talking about. Okay, so let's keep going. So I haven't added the gel yet, guys. All I've done is gone in with the Wavy All-in-One by Less Brands. And then once I have brush styled, then I like to go in with gel, and I add some gel now and some 150% dry. I know, it's weird, but it works. Trust the process. Hi Shannon, your hair always ends up frizzy. I have a video that I posted relatively recently called the Anti-Frizz Masterclass. I highly recommend you go watch that full video. It's pretty long. And I basically go through like everything you can do to stop getting frizz. And if you watch that whole masterclass and you implement all of those tips and you're still getting frizz, it's likely that your hair is damaged or you have like protein overload or something like that. Do I use oil? Only at the very end of my routine. Like using hair oil on bare hair for wavies, unless your hair is more on the swavy side, then it can be okay. But like if you find you have to use so much oil to get rid of the frizz that your hair ends up looking greasy or way down, you need something other than an oil. Oil probably isn't the right product for you. I typically don't use curl creams. I sometimes do, but it's pretty rare. But keep in mind my hair is moderately low porosity. It's like kind of normal to low porosity. Hold on, this is not how I want to divide my hair. In my experience, you need to have pretty curly hair that with the spirals that start almost at the root to really benefit from curl cream, unless you're doing something like the bowl method. The bowl method is going to like water down the products in your hair, so it'll lighten it up. But if you're not doing the bowl method, you don't want to use products that are too heavy for your hair. So I prefer leave-in conditioners, all that to say. Where can I find hair oil? All I find is serums. Serums are great. You can use serums instead of hair oil. I prefer serums as a rule. I find hair oils to be too heavy for my hair. Even argan oil, which is one of the lightest oils, I still find it too heavy for my hair. So I typically prefer serums. Okay. Okay, so now we are getting closer to my face and I like to be a little extra. So once I do these like kind of very front sections, I switch to brush curls on my hair. Again, my hair is still very wet from earlier when we were spraying it with a ton of water. So I'm gonna do a brush curl. I'm gonna put the brush downward at a 45-degree angle and start wrapping. See how I almost wrapped it around the bristles? Don't do that. Wrap it around the handle. Otherwise, you're gonna end up cutting the brush out of your hair. Okay, then you're gonna pull it through till just the tips of the hair are going through the bristles, and you're gonna wrap it all the way up to the root and just unwind, or like at the end you can slightly pull it through and you should be left with these really nice spirals. Brush curls don't work for everybody, so don't get, down on yourself if it just doesn't seem to be working for your hair. It might not work for your hair. They work really well for me, but you just gotta give it a try. By the way, if you find this helpful, guys, don't forget to give me a double tap. It does really help. Okay, so I'm gonna put the brush down at a 45-degree angle, rotate it around the handle, keep pulling it through until you get right to the tip, and then rotate it. So I can tell you what happened there. I don't know if you noticed how it just came loose. So I put it through, I started rotating around the handle, and I pulled it through too much, so there wasn't enough hair being gripped, okay? So this time I'm gonna pull it through a little bit less, and I'm going to wrap it up to the root, which is basically your finger curling it to shape and give definition. And then you can just pull it out like that. You did brush curls and pin for the first time. I love it. So that's why, I get asked sometimes, is that your natural hair? And frankly, the answer is no. The way I style my hair is not my things like that. I say, yeah, in the sense that if you're telling everyone this is your natural hair, sorry, I think I just disconnected for a second. But if you're telling everyone it's your natural hair and you're doing brush curls and pin curls, is it cheating? Maybe, but I don't tell people that. So wear your hair the way you want, but then don't misrepresent it, I think. But also, like, people can get too pressed about it, for sure. But anyway, so I think just like, don't worry about if it's like cheating or not. Just be honest about what you're doing. And if you like doing it, then do it, It's no different than using a curling iron. Less harmful because you're not using direct heat in the same way. Oh, Crystal, what a lovely message. Thank you so much. Okay, so we put our brush down at a 45-degree angles, curling for shoulder length. So suggestions on brush curling for shoulder length. Do you mean your hair is too short for brush curls? Nurse Chic 2.0? No, if your hair is straight, it does not hold a brush curl. What is the best product for breakage from wearing it up in the bun? you want to prevent further breakage, so I would say maybe like a bond treatment. I think Curlsmith has one, and Olaplex, of course, has a bond treatment. Yeah, so if your hair is too short for brush curls, I can kind of show you when we get closer to my bangs where my hair is shorter, but I basically just switched to brush coiling, which some people prefer brush coiling altogether. Like if you follow Curls by Kira, cool. I always get those two confused. Curls by Kira, she does brush coils instead of brush curls. By the way, I made these terms up, guys. These are not like official. So I'm just gonna go through and brush through this area like this. Here, I just kind of do a raking motion because I only want to do brush curls right around my face. And then I give her a little scrunch, and then I focus on the brush curls here. So let me show you one brush coil here, guys, just so you can see what I'm talking about. So brush curl is what I've been doing. A brush coil is you literally just catch it in the brush and you rotate it. This, for some people, is a lot simpler. It gives me different results. It's a much ropier curl, but especially for short hair, it can work a lot better. Or you can just finger curl. I'm terrible at finger curling, though. How do I care for it the next day? The most important thing is to use enough product on day one that you have hold. And then the second most important thing is to protect your hair at night, whether that's sleeping on a silk pillowcase, wearing your hair in a silk scarf, putting your hair up in a willow or a pineapple. These are all things you can do to protect your hair. But making your style last and protecting your hair is much, much better than having some fancy, elaborate refresh routine. So ideally, you want to get to the point where you have to do minimal amount of work on day two. Yeah, I have a scarf and a bonnet. I personally prefer the scarf because I have like complete control over how tight it is around my head, and I get migraines. So that way, if in the middle of the night I have to like loosen it, I can, and I don't have to like fully take it off. Okay, so we're going back to brush curls here. Sorry, it's always hard to do this without a mirror. I'm just like using the iPhone as my mirror. Okay, so we're gonna put the brush down at a 45-degree angle. We're gonna rotate and start wrapping it around the handle, not around the bristles. See how it's getting till just the tip of the hairs through the bristles. That's what we want. And then we wanna wrap it up all the way to the root. Yes, migraines did start after my TBI. And then I had never had a migraine in my life before that. Okay, there you go. So I curl them all in the same direction away from my face, but you can experiment. Some people prefer to go in the same direction as their natural curl pattern, which for me would be towards my face. I did that for a long time. Sorry, we lost you a bit there, Instagram. Oh no. Well, see if I can get that to work. But lately I've been finding I prefer curling them away from my face. It actually gives me more volume at the root when I fight the natural curl pattern. Who knew? So that's what I've been doing. But do what works for you. Everybody's hair is different. And yes, I did get my septum pierced. The hairbrush I'm using is linked in my bio. You can go check it out. It's from Amazon. And yes, I did get my septum pierced. And I love it, so I don't care what anyone else thinks. Before I invite too many opinions on that. I know it's not to everybody's taste, but that's not important. Ultimately, we just want to look how, do what makes us feel most like ourselves. And for me, it's very affirming. How did it feel pain-wise? The TB, like, what do you mean, the migraines? Oh, the septum. It wasn't too bad. It hurt, for sure. You thought you had to do it in the direction it went. I used to say that, and I'm sure I still have videos floating around where I say you want to go in the same direction as the natural curl pattern. You can do it in the same direction as your natural curl pattern, and for some people that's going to work better. My hair, it doesn't really seem to be too bothered, so do experiment. Once I styled half of my head in the direction of my natural curl pattern and the other half of my head against the natural curl pattern to really experiment. And what I found was they were equally curly on both sides, but I had more volume on the side where I went against my natural curl pattern. There's a video somewhere where you can find it. me doing that. So that's why I started switching it, but everybody's hair is going to react slightly differently to that. So that's really going to be something that you have to experiment with yourself. Aw, thanks, Haley. Guys, if you're finding this valuable, don't forget to give me that double tap. It does really help. Okay. Drop my jaw clip. Okay. So to do my whole head when I'm not on live, guys, I'd say about 20 minutes the way I do it. I've gotten pretty quick at it. However, I'm always a lot slower when I'm doing it on these lives because I'm like taking my time. I don't have a proper mirror. You know, I'm answering your questions. Aw, thanks, T. Okay. Okay, so again, we're just rotating it all the way up. Remember, you want to be wrapping around the handle, not around the bristles. If there's one thing you take away from this live, it's that you cannot wrap your hair repeatedly around bristles on a comb, on a brush, anything. That is how you end up cutting a brush out of your hair. So be very careful. Have a tutorial beside you. Goodbye. Bye. It's my partner. Okay, so on this one, this is near my face. I have such a hard time with my curls because of the straightening. My hair is confused. Yeah, bond treatment is a good place to start. Amy Jill, that's so exciting. How do you compare this technique to finger coiling or rolling? Very similar results, except I find this gets rid of the frizz too because you're brushing through. So that's why I prefer it. If my waves always want to go forward, can I brush them to curl away from my face? That's what I'm doing right now, but everybody's hair is different, so you're just gonna have to experiment. So I put the bristles through the hair section, and see how I like to take really small sections because whatever size the section dries in, it's going to want to keep reforming into that curl. So if your hair naturally clumps in pretty chunky curls, then you can do larger brush curls and that's fine. But my natural curls are quite small. So I like to mimic that with the brush curls. So I do smaller ones as well. Okay. Yeah, the diamond brush is such a game changer. Okay, so then you rotate all the way up to your hair and you can either just pull it through or you can unwind if it's not pulling through nicely. You don't want to put a lot of pressure on your hair. So keep in mind, I don't brush curl my whole head, guys. I only brush curl around my face because I'm just trying to like kind of, you do it as an accent to make things look a little bit more polished around my face. The rest of my head, I just brush through in sections and I think it's fine. This is not new with the diamond brush, and frankly, it's not particularly helpful for people with curly hair. Like if you have spirals that start at the root, this is kind of redundant. You could do it to like polish your hair, but you're probably just as well off to just like praying hands, or maybe finger curling might even be a bit faster. But this is a pretty laborious and time-consuming technique, and it helps you to kind of turn a bit of an S shape into a spiral. That's why I do it around my face and not the rest of my head, because my face is the least curly section of my head. So if you have naturally very spirally hair, this is probably unnecessary and a waste of time. Maybe you might do it at Christmas, but I like to do it in this front section where I have more S waves to kind of even out my curl pattern a little bit. Do you think curtain bangs look good for curly hair? I have curtain bangs and I love them, but it's different on curly hair. So you'll see how my hair looks once it's fully styled. Yeah, because also keep in mind that curtain bang length on curly hair is going to look like a bang because you get a lot of shrinkage. So I did more of like a Korean bang sort of rather than a curtain bang, and something that just really blends my bangs into my layers. And that's how I like to wear my hair, so that I have some like shorty pieces at the front for when I put my hair in a ponytail, but also they're not in my face all the time. I'm not a hairstylist. Absolutely not. And actually, if you go to my profile on TikTok and watch my main intro, I talk about that. When it says start here or getting started, something like that, it's the first video you watch when you come to my page. You're the first video that you're invited to watch. I talk about that because I think it's good for people to know. Okay, so... Tony, I'm so glad you found it fun to watch. And if anybody wants to see my haircut, my amazing stylist, Mallory, did my hair live on TikTok and I shared it on YouTube. So if you go check out my YouTube channel, you can go watch it if you want to hear what she has to say about cutting wavy hair. What do I think is the best affordable curl cream? Brittany, I can't see your hair. It depends on your hair. If you have very curly hair that's very spirally and starts at the root, the Maui Moisture Curl Cream I think is so moisturizing. It's great, but it's not going to give you any hold. So if your hair has a tendency to lose curl over the course of a couple of days, it's not going to be great for you. So it's tough for me to recommend. Like, there's no one curl cream that's good for every set of curly hair. Everybody has different needs. Some people need protein, some people need moisture, some people need strong hold, some people need soft hold. Like, you really have to customize it based on your hair. But if you send me a picture, like a DM of your hair, I can try and help guide you towards the right products. But also my favorite products are all linked in my bio. Curlsmith has incredible products. They are like one of the top curly hair brands. Okay, but in my hair today is the Lust Brands All-in-One, and then we are going to go in afterwards with some Lust Brands gel. I love their gel. Okay. I'm just brushing it, give her a little shake and a scrunch to revive the curl. I'm gonna do that one more time. Actually, one sec, I need to like... My hair only looks good on day 1 and has to go into a bun until the next wash day. Mish, if you tell me what products you're using, show me your hair on day 1, and then show me your hair on day 2, I can help you. But my number 1 question is always going to be like, either you can make a video and tag me in it, or you can DM me on Instagram. But my first question is, are the products you're using too heavy for your hair? And my second question is, are you protecting your hair at night? Does your hair curl in ringlets if you don't twist it? It does from the mids to the ends. Do you have to diffuse? Diffusing will help make your hair curlier if that is your goal. It is not everybody's goal, and it doesn't have to be your goal. It can also help you get more volume if that is your goal. And it can also reduce the amount of frizz if you're doing it properly, because our hair is most prone to generating frizz when it is wet, and when we diffuse it, we cut down on how long it's going to be wet for. So, you know, if you're air drying, at some point you're probably going to have to take off a sweater, lean your head back against a car seat, you know, and all of these things can generate tiny little micro bits of frizz. So diffusing can get rid of some of that. Okay, now this section of my hair is by far the least curly section of my head, which is one of the big reasons I like to brush curl it. Because the underneath of my head is very naturally spirally, so I just kind of brush through it in sections. This section is not naturally ringlets, so I do this because it helps match it a little bit more. It turns some of those S waves into more of a spiral. You guys are asking good questions today. If you're finding this helpful, don't forget to give me a double tap. It helps me so much. If you haven't hit that follow button already, I would love for you to be part of this family. We go live every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Occasionally, I go live with curly hair stylists and specialists who can give you much more knowledgeable information than I can. I'm always kind of talking from like a first person point of view, from my own learned experience. These people have worked on hundreds or thousands of heads of hair. The other, yeah, anyways. So we're using Lust Brands in my hair so far. Okay, so see, when we start getting to these sections, I'm actually gonna leave this for the end because I like to style my bangs a little bit differently. So now we're gonna go to this side. How is your hair not air drying and air frizzing? So my hair is low porosity, which means it takes quite a while to air dry. But I would recommend, if your hair dries quite quickly, that you keep a spray bottle. I love infinity spray bottles. Keep it beside you to keep your hair nice and damp while you're working with it. Also, certain products are gonna flash dry your hair, like certain mousses will flash dry your hair. So you can try working with a slightly heavier hair product or a moisturizing product, which can help it a little bit, stay a little bit wetter while you're doing this. you struggle with your natural hair. Yeah, I had hagrid hair for a long time too. I truly did not know that my hair had the potential to do what it does today. Because whenever I got out of the shower, I basically put my hair up in a bun, which, as we know, elongates your natural like hair pattern. So then it would like on and off, I'd be throwing it up in a messy bun until it was dry, and then I would straighten it. So I just thought I had like really wonky waves, which I do have waves, but they don't need to be wonky. I've learned how to let them do what they want to do. And a lot of them are very spirally. Some of them are very S-wavy. And I like to maximize my curl pattern. So I turn those spirals with brush curls typically into more of a spiral. Turn those S waves into a spiral. But sometimes I don't. Sometimes I go with like a less curly look that is much more organic and more normal to my hair. You stopped using the straightener to curl my fringe and top 3 layers 3 weeks ago. Much healthier. It was so amazing. So parts of my hair dry so fast and the other parts. Does that mean high and low porosity? It could mean that you have certain sections of your hair that are higher porosity. That is particularly common when you have like bleached highlights in one section of your hair. Just that one section could be higher porosity than the rest of your hair. But some people also have straight up different hair types on their head. How do you know which way to turn the brush when brush styling? You can go with your natural curl pattern where you just kind of like scrunch it until you can tell which way it wants to go naturally, or you can go whichever direction you want and see how it goes. Yeah, I like to do really small sections. I think it saves me a lot of time during my curl refreshes. If you're finding this helpful, guys, don't forget to hit that double tap. It really helps me out. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to brush curls. So put the brush through at a 45-degree angle, start rotating it, and make sure you wrap it around the handle and not around the bristles. If you wrap it around the bristles, I swear you are going to be cutting the brush out of your hair. This is not the only way to do it. You can also brush curl, you can brush coil. Sorry, you can also finger curl, you can brush coil. And yes, this is going to kind of cheat codes enhance your curl pattern and make it more spirally. So if you naturally already have really tight spirals, it's probably unnecessary. But it's nice if you have some sections that are a lot curlier than other sections because it's a tool you can use to even out that curl pattern. And that's really the main reason that I use it, is I make my less curly sections look a little bit more spirally like my more curly sections. I don't know why, but they are. So here's what we're gonna do. I am going to use brush coiling because it's really short, so it's hard to brush curl my bangs. And I'd like to go away from my face, and my hair has to be soaking wet for me to do this, otherwise it does not work. And it has to be like relatively small sections. Okay. So we are going to rotate like that. Now this is going to give you a much ropier curl than brush curls will, which is why I don't do it on the rest of my head. But for my bangs or shorter hair, this can be a great technique. So we're doing these kind of like ropier curls. No, this will not hold if you have straight hair. You need at least wavy hair. Like this section is like very wavy, I would call, maybe even straight wavy where my bangs are. So it does hold. But if you have straight hair, it's just gonna fall out when you dry it. Okay. So for anybody who just joined and doesn't realize, I did not do this on my whole head. Don't worry, you don't have to. What I typically recommend is choosing a section that's just like around your face. That's gonna be the most visible, and just do that area. So 80% of my head, I just brush through it in sections to get rid of the wet frizz. And then I kind of scrunch it because I have wavy hair and scrunching really helps. I'm using the Lust Brands. So far I've used the Lust Brands all-in-one wavy formula, and you don't need very much of it. Emulsify it with water in your hands before you add it in sections to your hair. We're almost done, guys. We're getting there, and then we get to diffuse. Oh my God, and diffusing, like, if you don't have good diffusing technique, don't even talk to me. I'm kidding. That's what I'm here for. I am here to show you all good diffusing technique. Oh my God, I love this question. How do I get my curls to not be crunchy in the end? This is probably the biggest question I get, and it's not what you think. It's not necessarily that you need to avoid products that cause the crunchiness. The crunchiness is not bad. It's just that your hair isn't done being styled. You don't have to use products that give you that crunchiness, but that crunchiness is typically, see how straight this section is? It hates me. Okay. The crunchiness is something that you get typically from products that contain a lot of hold. So it's called a cast, and it kind of makes your hair look like you have too much product in it, and it's like shiny and greasy looking. So what I would do, in fact, the product I'm using today is going to probably give me a cast. The Irish Sea Moss Gel by Love Your Curls. I already have this product in my hair. They're both linked in my bio if you want to go check them out. I also have a discount code. I hate when it's closed. So what I do is once your hair is 100% dry and it's got that crunchy finish, you want, and scrunch it, make sure even in the center it's 100% dry. And if you're diffusing your hair, let it come back to room temperature and cool down, and then scrunch it, because when it's hot, it's gonna feel dry. But then when it cools down, you realize it's still damp sometimes. So you've got the cast, you've got that crunchiness from those products, you've made sure that your hair is 100% dry. Diffusing really does help. And then you can either just use your hands and just start scrunching your hair, or put a little bit of shine serum or a hair oil on your hands and scrunch until all that crunchiness, or at least 90% of that crunchiness, goes away. And you will get way better hold on your hair. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm going to add some Irish Sea Moss Gel to my hands, okay? The Wavy formula and scrunching and diffusing could enhance your wave. No product is going to create curl where there is none, but there are products and techniques you can use that can enhance. The key, if you have slightly wavy hair and you want it to be curlier, is not to go buy a curl cream. It's to use very light products that provide hold. It's gonna make a huge difference. Okay, so do you see how, guys, I added a gel, then I added water, and you see how much it turns into like a foamy product? That's what we wanna do before we add it to our hair, okay? So I'm gonna go through in sections to start. Now, some people prefer to do this before they do all that brush styling. That's fine too, especially if you feel like this ruins all of the hard work you just did. Personally, I like to glaze gel over my hair, and that helps me get more volume. I don't like to like brush the gel through my hair. So this helps the gel just sit on top of my hair, and I prefer that look, okay? This is just water in here, by the way. I recommend generally like fragrance-free products for little kids, but Lush I think is great because they've got some great all-in-one products that make it nice and simple. Okay, so we've done that. I'm gonna flip my hair upside down, and you see how I'm adding it bit by bit. I add about like a dime size amount at a time, saturate it with water, whoops, work it into my hands to emulsify the gel so that I can evenly distribute it. Okay, make sure it's added everywhere. We want to be relatively gentle with our hair so we don't make it too frizzy during this process. I'm excited for you guys to see the results because I feel like there's a lot of people here who aren't usually in my lives. I go live every Tuesday. So if you find this helpful, I do it every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Oh, usually always using different products, sometimes using different techniques. I don't style my hair exactly the same every week. I like to have a variety of different looks. I mean, that is the joys of wavy and curly hair. So, okay. So now for my bangs, I'm just gonna get a little bit of product in there. And I'm just making sure my ends have enough product, and then we are going to start diffusing, okay? Let's go. I have a YouTube channel. Go check me out. Thank you for someone who just shared my live. That helps me so much, guys. Okay, so now we're gonna get started. This is the drying part, and I think this is where a lot of people start to struggle, okay? So this is a t-shirt towel. You can use a regular t-shirt as well. You can also use a microfiber towel. I've got one here. I love the Weedad hair gel as well. I think it's actually linked in my bio. The gel I used is the Irish Sea Moss gel. I have a discount code. It's linked to my bio if you want to check it out. I love it. I wouldn't call it the strongest hold gel. It's like a medium strong hold gel with a medium weight. It's not hyper lightweight either. I think it's like a good middle of the road, good beginner gel. I think praying hands then scrunching is a great technique to use. Someone was just asking about that. I do brush styling though. So, which is kind of instead of that. Okay. Okay, now very gently, I am flipping all my head forward. I don't want to create super stringy hair, so I'm not like whipping my hair all over the place. Take my t-shirt towel, and I'm micro plopping. This, when you hear people talk about micro plopping, this is what they're talking about. So the benefits to micro plopping is we are going to scrunch out any of the excess water, but we're also not overly disrupting the curl pattern. So I'm not like I'm not touching it a ton. I'm like going in, squeezing out the excess water. It's gonna get rid of some of the product. So you wanna make sure you added enough product initially. But I'm gonna do something called Smaster's method, which is gonna help. One sec, this sweater is now soaking wet. Okay. Okay, so now I've gotten rid of most of the excess product. We are gonna go in and start diffusing. So diffusing your hair is one of the trickiest things that has one of the biggest learning curves, I think. So I'm gonna show you how I do this. See some of the questions. Oh, it looks like you guys are answering each other's questions. That's so amazing. Do you ever pulse squeeze the water out? Yeah, pulse squeezing, if that works for your hair, can be great. But I don't find it's necessary. Usually by the time I've brush styled my hair is starting to be a little bit less drenched. If you find this helpful, guys, don't forget to give me that double tap. It helps me so much. I go live every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Okay, so this is my diffuser. You can see it's well loved. I haven't tried many diffusers. This one was gifted to me by Lost Brands, and I absolutely love it. The diffuser is kind of fun because you have like a lot of control over airflow. You can like twist it somehow, I forget, to like change how much airflow you get in here. One second. There we go. But anyways, I never actually do that. I just keep it up fully open. And then I put it at high airflow and high heat because we are going to start with hover diffusing. No, we're not. I'm lying to you. Don't let me lie to you like that. Who's gonna call me out? Where are my regulars? Okay, one sec. Let's get our bang. I want the straight middle part. If you don't want that, then you would just keep flipping your hair back and forth and you would style your bangs forward properly, probably. But I want to keep my middle part. So what I'm gonna do is bubble diffuse, and you need a blow dryer that has like these longer bits here, a diffuser that has those to bubble diffuse. So then I'm going to put it in here and then bubble it up like that. And I'm gonna put it down to a medium heat for this because we're really close to my hair. This is gonna help with root volume, okay? How often do you deep condition to get your curls back? Everybody's hair is different. It depends on what kind of deep conditioner that you're using. I like to deep condition probably 2 or 3 times a month, but my hair loves moisture. So, I mean, it kind of depends. I'm a sucker. I feel like I'm using all Lust products today, but truly the Lust Brands deep conditioner is hands down my favorite deep conditioner. Thank you for sharing my live. You guys are so nice. That actually helps me so much. It's just those little things there. Okay, so we're gonna start with that bubble diffusing. I struggle with volume on top of my head because the top layer of my hair is by far the least curly. So that is why I bubble diffuse. Bubble diffusing is a technique that I learned from Curl Vitality. She is our queen. We worship her. Okay, turn it back up. Great question. How do I stop getting triangle hair? The short answer is a new haircut. Honestly, go to a hairstylist who is going to take into consideration your curl pattern when they are cutting your hair. The biggest cause of triangle hair is the haircut you have. Go to Pinterest, find some inspiration pics of curly cuts or wavy cuts that you really like. Anita, thank you so much for the rose. And take those pictures with you to your hairstylist. Even if your hairstylist is not a wavy or curly hair specialist, show them the pictures you want. Show them that you wear your hair naturally. So what is triangle hair? That's a great question. Triangle hair is when you like have no volume at the top, and then it kind of goes out like this, and you end up kind of looking like a triangle. And it's typically caused by having no layers in your hair. Okay, so see, it looks a little wonky, but this is what I do to create a little bit more root volume. Now that we've got a little bit of root volume, we're gonna flip my hair very gently, and now we're gonna bump it up to high heat because I'm not a hairstylist, guys. I talk about that in the main video on my profile. Absolutely not a hairstylist. Go through and hover diffuse. Hover diffusing is a great technique for creating the least amount of frizz while you're diffusing. So most people can get away with using a high heat when they're doing this because you're 8 to 10 centimeters away from the hair. So by the time the air is actually touching your hair, it's too cool for it to actually burn your hair. You should be using heat protectant though if it's not built into the products you're using. So I'm gonna go around now until that gel that I was using is starting to get a little bit shiny and crunchy and my hair is starting to be dry. This is my best technique for reducing the amount of frizz that I have. Because a lot of people, I think when they're first getting started with diffusing their hair, they go like, okay, I'm gonna turn it off, but they turn their diffuser on and they go like this. That's the #1 way to get stringy and frizzy, wavy, or curly hair. Okay? So start diffusing. Start with like a hover diffuse where you're letting your curl pattern start to set on its own. Now, depending on your hair, that will decide how long you want to hover diffuse for, because obviously cupping the hair up and kind of scrunching it and holding it in place while you diffuse is going to encourage and foster the curl if you have less curly hair or more wavy hair. But for me, it's also going to start to break the cast, and the cast is that like crunchiness you get from your gel. It's also going to create a little bit more frizz, so that's why I like to do this hover diffusing, where I'm literally hovering the blow dryer for a little bit longer, so I'm not disrupting that curl pattern. Because you see, I kind of have some nice curl clumps. They're not overly large, but they're not overly stringy either, and I want to preserve those for as long as I can. Okay? So once I start to feel that my hair is getting a little bit hard, that is going to be my cue. So the other nice thing is if at any point you realize, you know what, I don't think I have enough product in my hair. This is why I like this Masters technique. So this Masters technique is where you add some of your gel, you glaze some of the gel on your hair while it's wet before you start diffusing. And then you can glaze more gel when you're like 50% dry. I'm probably not 50% dry, but I don't think I have enough gel in my hair. So we're going in with a little bit more. Remember, I water that gel on, so I emulsify it in my hand first so that I can evenly distribute it. This is especially important when we're applying it to like damp or slightly dry hair. Okay, can we talk, if your gel is flaking, there's a good chance it's not combining well with some of the other products you're using. Add all of the products in your hand that you use in your hair and see if it flakes even doing that. It could just be the combination of gels. Okay, if you're afraid to use high heat, I saw a curly hair specialist talk about this the other day. Her name is Curly Gal Clo. By the way, guys, Masters technique. I am now glazing a little bit more gel to my like 40% dry hair. And this can help you get a really nice crunchy cast, which is that crunchiness you get from gel, if that's something you like. Don't worry, I don't leave my hair like that. But anyways, it also helps the gel to not weigh your hair down so much. So the Curly Gal Clo, who is this curly hair specialist I follow on TikTok, you should all follow her as well. She is amazing. She lives in Manchester. I wish I could go see her. I've learned so much from her account in just a few weeks or months since I found her account. Anyways, she says a lot of people are afraid of using heat on their curls because they hear never use high heat on your curls. What curly hair specialists mean when they say that is don't use styling tools like straighteners or curling irons, especially a high heat with those tools on your hair, okay? So that, yes, is very hot. You're putting 400 degrees on your hair. You're very likely going to damage it. when you're using a diffuser, even a diffuser on high heat is not gonna get your hair that hot, okay? So yes, use heat protectant when you're using a diffuser, but for a lot of us, we can use a high or a medium heat with a diffuser safely without damaging our hair. So when people say don't use heat, don't use a straightener or a curling iron, that's what they're talking about. Now, that's not to say you don't need to be careful. You still shouldn't smell burning. Like, you should still pay attention to that. But just to like calm your fears a little bit about that. I'm not smart, I just follow really smart people. Definitely make sure you follow a couple of like professional hairstylists who are curly hair specialists to cut through some of the BS on TikTok. And that's not me. I'm not a curly hair specialist, guys. I just share with you what I've learned on my own hair journey, which is not the same as someone who styles 10 curly heads every single day. That's the real OGs. That's where the real knowledge is. Okay, so now I'm going to, now that we're like 50% dry, I turn the blow dryer off, then I cup the hair, and then I turn it back on. I typically drop down to a medium heat for this because this is a very hot blow dryer, and I'm like touching the hair now, so I don't want to burn my hair. If you find this helpful, guys, don't forget to give me that double tap. It helps me so much. If you're interested in any of the products that I used today, they're all linked in my bio, and I have a discount code. Aw, thanks, Ginger. Yay, you tried mousse, and the diffusing went so much better this week. That makes me so happy. Okay, the curly girl that I watch on TikTok, her name is Curly Gal. I know, what a coincidence. Curly Gal Chloe, C-H-L-O. If somebody can like tag her, I don't know if that's possible, in the comments. Because she really is worth following. She's very, very knowledgeable. Okay, so at this point, this is called Pixie Diffusing, if I didn't mention that already. Maze by Mel is also an amazing resource. She's also a hairstylist. Those are actually probably two of my favorites. Same with Curl Vitality is great too. I don't know if she's a hairstylist. I think she is. So today we used the Wavy. I do not diffuse my hair every day. I'm so glad you asked that question. Absolutely not. I do not diffuse my hair every day. I put curls in the bank on wash day. So today I'm going to take about 2 hours to do my full hair routine. If I wasn't doing it on live, it would take more like an hour. And then it lasts 4 to 5 days with only dry refreshes, really. So it's super easy for like 4 or 5 days. I end up ultimately spending less time on my hair than I did back when I was straightening it all the time. Okay, so now I can feel my hair is, we're gonna call it 60% dry. So what I like to do at this point, because my bangs sometimes get a little wonky, is I like to do a little check on how my bangs are looking, and then I like to cheat, okay? I said, how are she looking? See, this bang is looking kind of weird. I don't love it. So I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to pin curl her away from my face. Why is she female? I'm not sure, but she's female. I can tell. Yeah, that's a really good point. The alternative is you can always dampen any wonky bits when you're done. You don't have to do it now, but I do find this sometimes saves me a little bit of time. Okay, so I'm fine with these. It's just really these. I have a crown right here, so my bangs are always like a little bit crazy. They're also the least curly part of my head by far, so. Okay. So I'm just kind of pin curling around my finger. Using a bobby pin like this to add some stability. Is this cheating? 100%. I would not do this and then tell people this is my natural hair. It's not. It's cheating, but that's okay. There's nothing wrong with cheating as long as we are honest about it. We just need to wear our hair how we feel the most comfortable. How do you refresh your curls the next day? Truthfully, I don't. My hair is gonna look bomb tomorrow. It's not really going to need to be refreshed. That is a combination of doing brush curls around my face, sleeping with doing pin curls on my bangs to make them last a little bit longer, sleeping with my hair with sleep protection on a silk scarf. All these things that I do makes my hairstyles last a lot longer. Okay, let's get back to Pixie Diffusing. So my bangs were like almost dry when I pin curled them. If I pin curl them from too wet, they will end up too tight. So you'll have to play around with that. Yeah, bonnets and silk scarves are just one of those things that we have learned from the black hair community, and it is indispensable. Sleeping on silk is amazing, whether you have straight hair, whether you have curly hair. It can reduce frizz, it can reduce tangles, it can reduce moisture loss. It's so much better than sleeping on cotton. Okay. So usually around this point in time, I start to get really impatient, so I typically switch to a higher heat setting. There's basically no point in styling for hours without sleep protection. Totally. Yeah, totally. It's going to last so much better if you protect your hair at night. I'm sorry to hear that, Luna Sheep. That sucks. If you found this helpful today, guys, don't forget to give me that double tap. We're maybe like 80% through the blow drying now. Oh my God, blow drying wavy or curly hair without a diffuser does create havoc. Okay, so again, thank you so much for the rose, LRKP, I think. Okay, so I think we're at like 80%. Again, this is called Pixie Diffusing. So the two techniques, or the three techniques I use, but the two main ones are hover diffusing, where you do this to create the least amount of frizz possible. And then at a certain point, I switch to Pixie Diffusing, where I leave it turned off while I get it in position so that I'm not disrupting the curl and creating a bunch of frizz. And then I hold it in position for, anywhere from 10 to 30 seconds, depending on the heat. You have your blow dryer on, you don't want to burn your hair. And this is going to give you more shrinkage, especially if you have spirals or S-waves that you would like to see behave like tighter curls. Then the heat from the blow dryer in Pixie Diffusing is really going to help with that. Now keep in mind, if you are Pixie Diffusing, it might start to break the cast that you got from your mousse or gel. That's okay. But if you don't want that to happen, then once you're at like 90% dry, I would switch to hover diffusing until you're done. I'm not overly pressed about it. Like, it's fine. At this point, if it starts, because like, I don't know if you can tell, but see how it kind of looks shiny? And like, if I were to feel it, I don't know if you can hear that, but it's just a little bit crunchy. Like, I don't know if you guys can hear that. It's a little bit crunchy. It's a little bit piecey and stringy looking. It looks a little bit greasy. That's my cast. I didn't add too much product. It's fine. That is my cast. So if you want to preserve that cast until your hair is 100% dry and then be able to break it, which gives you the most control over how much frizz you have, then you would switch to hover diffusing at this point. Okay, so at this point when my hair is like 95% dry, I kind of start winging it a little bit because I'm less worried about breaking the cast. I'm less worried about creating frizz because I already have this nice cast. So it's unlikely that I'm going to make my hair super frizzy at this point. It's kind of already set in the shape it wants to be in. Hover diffusing, for someone who's just asking, is when you hold the diffuser about 8 to 10 centimeters away from your hair, and you do that, usually on a high heat setting. And it's a great way to blow dry with minimal disruption to your curl pattern. It creates a lot less frizz. I wonder how those little pin curls are holding up that we did earlier. I love to see you guys helping each other in the comments. That's so wonderful. Yeah, some gels won't create a cast. Sometimes you won't get a cast because you're not using a product that provides cast. Sometimes the product you have under the gel is too heavy, and so it's preventing the cast from being able to form. Sometimes your hair was so wet when you added the cast that it like kind of diluted the product and you just ended up not getting a cast. Sometimes you just touched your hair a lot while it was drying and that broke the cast. So the cast that I get from the combination of the all-in-one Wavy and the Less brands is a very light cast. It's not a super crunchy cast, but it's just enough for me to not get frizz. I think it's perfect. So some people I've seen ask me, why do I call my hair wavy and not curly? Guys, the first thing you need to know is when you're typing your hair, you do that on air-dried hair with no styling and no product. That is not what you are seeing. What you are seeing right now is my hair heavily manipulated to enhance the curl pattern and the spirals. So this is not my hair type. This is how good I am at styling my hair. There's a difference, okay? So when my hair is unstyled, the top 50% of my hair is loose S-waves, and that is the reason that I call my hair wavy. Wavy hair can absolutely have spirally sections just because the presence of some spirals on your hair or the presence of spirals that start from mid to ends and don't start at the root does not necessarily mean your hair is curly. Okay, we're getting there, guys. We are getting so close. For anybody who has stuck around this long, like A+. You get a star. We are getting there. I'm so excited to break this cast. I feel like it's going to be so satisfying. Okay, let's see how we're doing with these pin curls. It is getting hot in here. Oh my God. We heat my house with a wood stove. We have like an external wood furnace, and my house has been freezing for the last week while we were waiting to like get the wood delivered. And we finally got the wood delivered, and now my house is like 110 degrees. And different from a hairdryer though. This is a hairdryer. It's a hairdryer with a blow dryer attachment. So do you see how it looks kind of like I have a little bit too much product in my hair? It's like a little bit shiny and greasy and like very defined. Okay, do you see that? It's rainy out today, so I'm going to struggle to get my hair 100% dry, but we're pretty damn close at this point. Sorry, for anyone who just came in, I used a very small amount of the Wavy all-in-one, emulsified in my hands and added in sections. Then we went through with a Denman brush, and about 80% of my head I just brushed through to get rid of wet frizz and scrunched. And then around my face, we did these beautiful brush curls, which really gave me some nice definition and very spirally sections. And then when my hair, right before we started diffusing, I emulsified, so like watered down some gel in my hand and added that. And then when we were like 40% dry, I did that again. I emulsified some gel in my hand with water and did it again. And does the all-in-one leave a cast? Not really. My hair is naturally wavy, and this is what it looks like when it's heavily manipulated. This is Less Brands, guys, and it's all linked in my bio. I do have a discount code if you want to give it a try. Okay. So now that my hair is cooled down, to really find out whether your hair is dry or not, you need to let it come back to room temperature and then feel it, because while your hair is wet, it is going to feel, while it's hot, it's going to feel dry. But it's actually pretty dry at this point. Now, in a perfect world, I'm going to take out these pin curls and pray to the hair gods that they turned out. Okay. Let's see, guys. Oh, I left them in a little bit too long. So they got a little bit too tight. That's okay. I'll just pull them out a little bit. They will loosen. They will loosen. They didn't turn out as good as they usually do today, but that's okay. There we go. That one turned out a little bit better. This one, I mean, I might, depending on how this looks once I shake it all out, I might wet that and restyle it because it's kind of giving like Dr. Zeus. Anyways, okay, so now that my hair is 100% dry, I think, again, like I said, it's pretty damp out where I live right now, so like it might take hours to get that last little bit of dampness out of my hair. That's just like the way my hair is in this climate. Probably if you live in like Florida, you might find that too. So I'm just not gonna worry about it. I'm gonna scrunch it out and pray that it works out, but at least you guys get the final result. Okay. So you can do this with a little bit of a hair oil, which actually is a really effective way to do it to prevent like frizz in a humid environment. I just didn't bring any hair oil. I have hair oil in the other room, so if I think I need it, I'll go get it. With you stating so much product in your hair, how often do you wash? So I only add product on wash day, and I wash every 5 to 6 days. You want to make sure you add enough product though, because if you're not going to add product again for a few days, you need it to last. You don't, and also guys, you do not have to go 6 days between washing your hair. No one gives you a medal. So everybody has to wash their hair at different frequencies. You can hair train your hair to be able to wash it less frequently with shampoo, but you don't need to go 6 days. If your scalp is getting itchy, if your roots are oily, at least water wash or co-wash. And I think most people should be shampooing at least once a week, if not twice a week. If you're going 3 days between wash days, I think that's perfectly healthy. Okay, so basically I'm scrunching to like revive volume, to bring volume back to my hair. And usually after I scrunch it out, I'll go back in with a quick Pixie Diffuse, just in case I scrunched it out and that revealed any areas that were still a little bit damp. And I'm a lot less precious now when I'm diffusing because the hairstyle is done. It's almost perfectly frizz-free, so I'm not overly worried about creating too much frizz at this point. But if you scrunch out your cast before your hair is 100% dry, over the next 20 minutes your hair might get frizzy. So it is important that your hair is pretty damn dry when you're scrunching out the cast. Okay. I don't know. I feel like the bangs didn't work out that well, so we'll see how this looks. Okay. And then I did some slightly bigger. It's pretty cute. This section will loosen here. So by the way, guys, this is literally how I'm gonna fix this. Just re-wet it. Not happy with it, just re-wet it. And since it's being super stubborn, I might just see what it wants to do. Yeah, exactly. Okay. How does it want to curl? There we go. There we go. Now it's happy. I'll give that a quick diffuse. I'm just like diffusing that single curl now to see if that makes it look a little bit. I'm really nitpicking though. Like, here's the thing. If you wanted to use a curling iron on one curl, you can. Make sure you're using heat protectant. It's not good for your hair. There is a potential to damage it. But I also know, you know, this is real life and not everybody has time to blow dry a single curl. When you're going to get your hair cut, they should be washing your hair. So it doesn't matter if you go with or without product. I do not cut my own hair. I go to Mallory Does Your Hair. She is a master hairstylist in Ottawa. Okay, so I'm just gonna let that air dry from there because it's being really temperamental. Okay, so from here, I usually do like slightly smaller brush curls, but I was kind of rushing today a bit. So I'm just gonna brush through and break up some of these, although it is a much better idea to do smaller brush curls in the first place because whatever hair chunks I have now, my hair is gonna keep reforming into those over the next several days. So it's gonna save you time in your refreshes if you just take smaller sections to begin with. But I like to break up a couple of these just to give me more volume. Guys, if you're struggling with frizz or with your daughter's frizz, anything like that, I have a video that you can scroll back and see. It's not from too long ago. It's not from too long ago. And it's called the Anti-Frizz Masterclass because there are a lot of things that can cause frizz. And unfortunately, products are not like a magic solution because it's not necessarily the lack of products that are causing frizz. It can be your products that are causing frizz, but it can also be a million other things. You can use the best products in the world and still end up with frizz, okay? So for that reason, I have a whole masterclass that you can watch. It's called the Anti-Frizz Masterclass. You can go back and see it. It's for free. It's on TikTok. It's on Instagram, wherever you're watching. Go check that out and then try and see if you can figure out where your frizz is coming from. You refresh with a spray bottle every day, but after 4 days, it starts getting a rat's nest at the nape of your neck. Make sure you're sleeping with your hair off of your neck. Like a bonnet, a silk scarf, something like that will make a big difference. I just want this one friggin' curl to finish drying so that I can finish shaking my hair out. Everybody's hair is a different amount of fragility, but frankly, like I could easily do like one curl with a curling iron and I'm not going to damage my hair. But I mean, some people's hair is different. You have the same blow dryer. It's amazing. I love it. You can buy it. It's linked to my bio, guys. Okay. How does a diffuser work? All it does is like, this is a regular blow dryer. It adds like a big thing at the end. So it diffuses the air. So the air is not coming out quite as like strong. So see how if I do that, see what happens? Versus if I do this, so it's not gonna make your hair as frizzy. That's the difference. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna go get some shine serum. I'll be right back. I just felt like the reason I'm gonna add some shine serum, this is actually a shine serum that contains silicones. And I know a lot of people avoid silicones. I only use silicones in my shine serum or hair oil at the end of my hairstyle when I feel like it's a very humid environment and I feel like I'm gonna lose definition throughout the day. This can help combat that, okay? Thanks so much for everybody who joined today, by the way. That was a great live. That was super busy, very fun. It's not always that busy, so if you feel like your questions didn't get answered, come back next Tuesday. Usually we only have about 100 people in here, sometimes less. My hair's still a little freaking damp. I can feel that it's still damp. Ugh! So annoying. Trying to get that last little bit of dampness out of there so I don't end up with frizzy hair. Okay, let's try that. Okay, now I feel like this is more my vibe. You probably can't even tell the difference, but like, I don't know, I can. I'm so picky with my hair. Thanks for joining. Okay. Here we go. Okay, so that's kind of the finished result. My hair is getting really long now, but I think it turned out so well. I just got my hair cut, and I think they did such a good job. I think she did such a good job. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm gonna sleep with my hair on a silk scarf tonight to prevent, I don't know why it ended up a little bit frizzy here. I don't know, I could probably brush curl that if I wanted to, but I think it's fine. So yeah, what am I going to do to make sure my hair lasts until tomorrow? I'm going to sleep with my hair on a silk scarf. I have, if you go to my playlist on TikTok called, I think it's called Protecting Curls, there is like a tutorial of how I tie my, it's a satin scarf, but same diff, whatever. Thank you, LRKP, I appreciate it. So sleep with your hair in a bonnet or a silk scarf. The key is if you have long hair like mine, your hair needs enough room inside the bonnet or scarf that it's not getting crushed overnight. Otherwise, you're going to lose all your volume. The other thing is I lower my hair into the silk scarf like that, so it's all piling on top of my head, and that also helps me preserve lots of nice volume on the top of my head. And then I'm going to wake up tomorrow and probably just shake it out. That's it. Because I used a good amount of gel, so that's going to give me longevity. I didn't use products that were too heavy for my hair. That's going to make sure that my hair doesn't look greasy tomorrow. So yeah, I think the key is once you get better at and find that curated, alchemized hair routine that's right for you, you don't want to have to do a wet refresh every single day. Pineapple does not work for me. Do I have bang bangs? No, I just have some face framing pieces. Like this goes down to my mouth, but like these two little shorty pieces are all I have. The rest, it's really just to like give me something that stays out of my ponytails. It's kind of like a Korean bang on wavy hair. You missed some of your live. Can I rewatch later? Yes. I still need to download last week's live and upload it, but I will do both of those later today. I will download last Tuesday's live and I will download today's live and I upload them to my YouTube so you can go check them out. My YouTube is actually starting to grow. We got 3,000 subscribers now on YouTube. That's so exciting. Do you have touchable curls after all this? Can you run through and shake it out? Look, I could run through, but when you have spirals, if I was to run through, like spirals run into each other. So if I was to run through, I'm going to break them all out and kind of make it frizzy. That's touchable in that sense, like being able to run fingers through your hair is almost unachievable when you have this level of curl or spiral in your hair. And it's not because of the products. I could do it. The products aren't stopping me from doing it. If I did it though, my hair would end up being more frizzy like this. I know. I'm using my own hair as an example because I don't like how that turned out. But anyways, that's fine. But so the key is you don't want to touch your hair, but in order for it to not get super tangly and knotted, you want to sleep with your hair up off your neck in a silk scarf or a silk bonnet, and that way overnight it's not getting all tangled. If you have a few sections around the nape of your neck that are getting very tangled, then what you can do tomorrow morning is just brush them out. Just separate that one or two curls. Just brush those out and then just dampen them and scrunch them. You shouldn't have to add product because you added enough product on wash day. Okay. The other thing is if your hair is getting very tangled very quickly, it could be an indicator that you have an excess of protein. That you have too much protein in your hair and that you need to clarify. Oh, Robin, you're very sweet. I don't know where my glasses are. I should definitely be wearing glasses at this point. How do you put your hair in a bonnet? I wear a silk scarf typically at night and I lower all of my hair. And if you go check out my playlist called Protecting Curls, I'll show you how to do it. Wet the tangled hair first and then brush out. Sure, whatever you find easiest. How would you clarify? I use Bounce Curl Gentle Clarifying Shampoo. I use Redken Low Foam Moisturizer and AG Fast Food Conditioner. Is that any good? I don't know those products. Yeah, you also get sweaty under the nape of your neck though throughout the day and overnight. Yeah, totally. No, and I get that. And that's why I say you don't need to go like 8 days between washing your hair. If you need to wash your hair every 3 days, do it. And if you need to refresh those areas under your head, that's okay. But the big thing is like when you're working out, if you're struggling and that's getting really sweaty, wear like a headband to keep that off, or use bobby pins or something to keep that off of the nape of your neck. That's going to really help. If you use a jaw clip to pull your hair back in a way that's going to minimize the disruption to your curl pattern. Not a jaw clip. A jaw clip or a banana clip is what I meant, because a banana clip is slightly more secure than a jaw clip for the most part. I've heard amazing things about InnerSense, but I have never tried them myself. I've heard a lot of people speak really highly about them. Brush curls, if you want to know more about brush curls, I talked a lot about them in today's live, but you can also go to my playlist called Denman, and I have tons of tutorials that will show you exactly what it is. Okay, I'm just going to hop off on Instagram because you guys don't seem to have a ton of questions. I'm still live over on TikTok. If you guys want to join me there, thanks so much. Okay, bye. You guys are my favorites. TikTok is my baby. TikTok is where I started my platform, so I love you guys the most. My Instagram is different though, because I can interact a lot in a different way. So like I get to chat with you guys when I'm live. On Instagram, I post on my stories every day. I can do polls, I can ask you questions. Like, so it's interactive in a different way on Instagram. So I do really like Instagram, but my hair is only soft and silky on the days I use Olaplex. Now it was damaged from dye 9 months ago. Oh, that's interesting. That's your real hair? Yes and no. It's pretty heavily manipulated. I've never used Eva NYC products. Guys, my favorite products are all linked in my bio. I often try and get like discount codes from the companies. So there's a lot of like 10 and 15% off codes that you can check out there. A lot of them are affiliate links too. So if you want to support me in some way and you don't know how, I mean, obviously you can go and like my videos and watch them all the way through, but the other thing you can do is if you happen to be buying those products, click through those links when you buy, and that really helps me out. My hair was not cut dry. I am not a hairstylist, so take what I say with a grain of salt, but I would argue, and I argue this because my hairstylist argues this, if you have wavy hair, it can sometimes be beneficial to get your hair cut dry. You kind of could do either or. Sorry, cut wet. And the reason for that is wavy hair often changes how curly it is. One wash day, it might be a tighter spiral. One wash day, it might be almost straight. Like, you get a lot of variation. So if you get it cut dry, that might not be the shape your hair always is. Does that make sense? So it is, I get my hair cut wet and then she touches it up once it's dry. But she very much takes into consideration my curl pattern when cutting it. So it's not like soaking wet, it's like kind of damp when she cuts it. Thank you. Looks so good. I don't know what's wrong with the way it's cut. I don't know. Do you guys not like how it's cut? I like it. I'm not a hairstylist, so I want to be careful how many questions I reply about how you should cut hair. I'm not a hairstylist, guys. Generally, I've seen a lot of people say curly hair that spirals from the root and is like very tight spirals should typically be cut dry, but maybe there's differing opinions on that, and I'm not educated enough to have an opinion. What is a pineapple and what is a cast? Okay, so a pineapple is just when you get a silk scrunchie. Technically, when you have a hair like mine where the curl doesn't start at the root, it's called a willow, not a pineapple. Pineapple is when you have spirals that start at the root, although I know it is being used in a much wider context than that online. But anyways, so you take a silk scrunchie, you pile all of your hair up on top of your head, and you use a silk scrunchie to secure it. It's a way to protect your hair typically overnight or when you're doing sports, stuff like that, because the silk scrunchie isn't going to create too much frizz. However, I don't like it. It doesn't work for my hair. I don't do pineapple method. It just elongates my hair. But some people love it. What is a cast? A cast is that like crunchy finish that you get on your hair from using certain products. And a cast is, if you leave it on its own, is going to give you a very like 80s prom crunchy curl look. What you want to do, if you don't like that look, is to, once your hair is 100% dry, scrunch that until it goes away. And then it totally goes away and it looks more like my hair does. Yeah, absolutely. White women, white folks can have curly hair. I'm not saying they don't. I've never said they don't. I I don't identify my hair as curly, but that's because you're seeing my hair fully styled right now. I have heavily manipulated it, and we type our hair when it is unstyled, air dried with no product. It has to be like a playing field. What is your natural hair? Not what are you able to achieve with your hair, right? And so the definition I go with for what is wavy hair is S waves or spirals that don't start at the root and have a tendency to loosen over the course of several days. I'm not saying that anyone is faking their spirals or anything like that. That's just a definition I work off of for wavy hair because I find it the most helpful to connect me with products and techniques that work really well for my hair. If you use a different definition, you use a different definition. That's just the one that works for me. And yeah. No, I don't doubt my hair knowledge at all, but I also want to recognize that it can be disrespectful to hairstylists when you have people going around who aren't trained in haircuts specifically, acting like they have that knowledge when they haven't had that training. Where are my glasses? Oh, they're there. Okay. Oh, but you guys are so sweet. My hair is like that on day 1, but by day 2, it has worked itself out. Yeah, you got to sleep with silk scarf on. How to wear your hair down and with, one sec. The As I Am brand, they have a good coconut co-wash. I haven't used a lot of their products. How to encourage the curl pattern near the root. This is such a great question. And then guys, I'm so sorry, but I'm going to have to hop off. But just remember that I go live every Tuesday at 11 a.m. So if you're like, no, I have more questions, hit that follow button. Give me a double tap before you go. Go watch a couple of my videos because everything we talk about on these lives, I almost guarantee I have covered it somewhere in some of my content. But how do you get the curl near the root? That's one of the biggest questions I have. First of all, if you don't naturally, if you don't naturally have curl near the root, there's nothing wrong with that. Just fixing the boobs. That's all. It's normal to have curl pattern that doesn't start at the root. That's called wavy hair. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not something that needs to be fixed. A couple of things that will make your life easier. Okay, one, getting a good haircut that takes into consideration your varying curl patterns on your head so you don't constantly feel like, why do I not have curl in that one spot? If you have a really good haircut, it should help just embrace all of that, okay? The second thing is if you're using products that are too heavy for your hair, that can elongate it and mean your hair is kind of falling heavy. So make sure you're using products that are light enough for your hair. Diffusing technique can really help. I like to bubble diffuse at the beginning to give me volume at the roots. You can also use root clips. I also find brush curls in those areas can help elongate the spiral so that the spiral starts closer to the root. Yeah, I gotta go put more wood in the stove. Build up advice, clarify. Oh my God, you guys are so funny. Thank you so much for joining today. You're all wonderful. I go live every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern. I hope I get to see you next week because this was a super fun live. If you want to come back and check out how this live went and you missed most of it, please follow me on YouTube. Subscribe there. I try to post I'm shaking you a lot, eh? I try to post most of my lives on YouTube so that you can go back and rewatch them on your wash day because I know that is what's most helpful for you. So yeah, go to YouTube. There is a playlist on YouTube, my protein powder, called Live TikTok Replays. Okay, see you Tuesday. Love you all. Bye.